Hey folks, I'm getting bashed in the head here. Yeah, they decided to start fighting just outside my place, or a few steps away, but yeah. Oh, assault band. Yeah, I won't be using it. Since I don't have enchanting anymore, I'll sell it, certainly. Now, the more I keep talking about classic, the more I keep getting excited for it, thinking, I'm showing you the Kata version of these zones. And when classic comes around, I can show you the classic version of the zones. Unlike in classic, I won't be doing, unlike here, I won't be doing one of each race and all that. I'll probably just do all the quests on the same character. Um, just to get the more extra money out of it and maybe rep. I know early on in Classic, if you out-level the quest, you wouldn't get rep for it. But I think that was changing in Classic. So, you know, that should be fine. But yeah, I'm just thinking I don't want to have to play, start do another 10 characters, even if it is just a starting zone. I'm thinking I'll probably just work on the one guy and bring him around the place once he's, got a mount, maybe the top tier mount, 100% speed. Maybe then I'll, go around and show you the zones that I didn't do. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Just even not necessarily doing all the zones. That's sounding like a lot of work, but this here, like I'm showing you the Kata version, and I'll get to show you the classic version, the original version, soon. And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Just need to get a drive back to play this game because I'm rather burnt out on it. The flames of Ragnaros will burn you all. Uh huh. The chambermaid is burlier than you. It's weakened. No, this cannot be. I am immortal. Uh huh. You can be immortal elsewhere. All the remains of Kalsinder's minions lie smoldering at your feet. Alphys will be relieved to hear that you succeeded. Archduke Kalinder has been banished from Azeroth. All that remains is a small, ashy spot where he stood. The work here is done. You return to Torian Point. Overseer Alphys and the rest of the Torian Brotherhood will be wondering how you fared in the fight against Kalinder. You mean they couldn't even stick the fuck around? It kind of feels like they're trying to do an epic build-up, like, oh, this is a big fight here. But it went too quick. It lacks the gravitas needed, to pull that off. So that sucks. I'm getting all nostalgic thinking of Classic. Wow, I never played Classic. I came in like late Burning Crusade. Palanai, I was leveling. I was just going into Bloodwatch. I was around Blood Mist territory when the Wrath pre-patch hit. I remember riding through a herd of zombies right outside the Exodar. But anyway, the I did like the original version of so many quests, and I'm really looking forward to doing them again, because they've changed since, and I want to do the original way. So that'll be great. In some ways, I feel like they shouldn't have retouched all the different quests in the game. They should just put more work into, kata. You know? Because it was one of the weaker expansions. Of the weaker ones, it was the probably least weak. And the weaker ones I'm defining as are Kata, WAD, and BFA. Kata was probably the weakest. Sorry, the least weak. It was the better of the three. And right now it's a toss-up between the other two. Neither is that good. They're just bad in their own way. Personally, I found WAD okay. It was substandard compared to the rest, but I found fun in it. But I'm finding less fun in BFA, but that could be because I'm more, I'm into raiding now proper and all this, My tastes have changed. So it is hard to judge it. Shit! Oh well. I missed the Flymaster's whistle. It's such a handy item. Thankfully, this absorption shield will stop them dismounting me. Okay, let's talk of war. Just to pass the time. The reason why this landscape, this bit here and the south are so fucked is because basically there was three dwarven kingdoms. I think there's three dwarven clans, or at least the main three in Ironforge: the Dark Irons, the Bronzebeards, and the Wildhammers. Eventually, they end up squabbling, and the Bronzebeards won, and the Wildhammers and the Dark Irons were kicked out. The Dark Irons went south, led by Tessarion and his sorceress wife, whose name I forget. His name is said more than hers is, so I don't remember. But anyway, to the north, the Wildhammer go to the north and settle at the Dark Irons settle here at Black Rock Mountain, while the Wildhammer settle in. Which zone was it? Wait, I'm looking too far north. Twilight Highlands. They settle in Grimbato. But something bad happens. Basically, the Dark Iron are pissed. They wanted Ironforge. They fucking wanted it. So what they do is they march an army north. They marched two armies north from Blackrock Mountain to the south here. Yeah, that's it. They marched two armies north, one led by the Emperor, one led by the Empress. The Empress hits up Grim Bateau, while the Emperor hits up Ironforge. And I think things were going well for him there for a time, but he ended up getting pushed back, and similarly the same with the Sorceress. Except I think she fell there. She died. She was used some dark magic on the place though before she did. But the Bronzebeards and the Wildhammers joined together and pushed back the Dark Iron to Blackrock Mountain. And in their desperation, Tessarion decides, you know what? I'm going to summon Ragnaros. And he summons Ragnaros. And it fucks the land utterly. So much so the dwarves, the two dwarven armies are like, oh, let's go home. And the Bronzebeards offer to to the Wildhammer that they can come back to Ironforge, but the Wildhammer end up taking a liking to, you know, the outside. Of course, when they get back to Airy Peak, the place is too devastated for them to go into. There's some dark magics on the place now, and they just can't stay there anymore. Sadly, you don't see any trace of them when you go into Grimbatol during the dungeon. You know, it's just solely Twilight Hammer, Dragonkin. Well, Dragonoid, Dragons, and Twilight's Hammer. You don't see any of the taint mentioned there, you know? Well, there is a faceless one at the end, but again, that's Twilight's Hammer. You don't see any her taint. Some about shadows. But anyway, she, so they end up settling in Airy Peak instead. But the Dark Irons themselves survived. Anyway, Ragnaros's fiery introduction here, and end up his slaves. So, yeah. That's why this land is so fucked. It's, Ragnaros popped in here, the Elemental Lord of Fire himself, and utterly ravaged the land here. Like, goddamn. So yeah, that's why. It's just like in WoW and a variety of games, they have a rather weird like ecology system. Like, here's a lush jungle, right next door is a desert. And in the case of here, here's snowy land, blasted land. You know, no, just no snow at all. Just volcanoes. And snowy land. God, I hate all these pop-ups on the map. Snowy land. Not snowy land in the slightest. It's, you know, lush and green. The only bit of snow is here, and the rest of it is just like English countryside. You know? Same up here in the wetlands. You know? It's like just random snow right here. And I think this place is a little higher than over here, but not that much. You know? So it's like you go down through a tunnel over here and you go down a bit, but it's not that much higher. You know? So it's like, you know, WoW and a variety of games do have a weirdly, like, sporadic ecosystem. As a further example, let's pop over to Kalimdor. Tanaris. Desert. Thousand Needles. It's pretty barren in this iteration and in the previous iteration. Just here has more water. Phalaris. Tropical jungle. Desolate. Desolate. Stone Talon Peaks. Desolate. Forest. Desolate. Desolate. Swamp. You know, it's... Well, I know tends to be, you know, variety in ecosystems. It's not just the same, you know, like on a whole continent. But it's just like, there's a, you know, it's not that far away, and there's just, or even say, you know, fuck that. You know, actually that's not a fair example. Ungoro is its own beast. As you've seen on Durkar, is actually a Titan area. The Titans are probably preserving it, you know? The one that's there. Actually, another good example. Mount Hyjal, or, no, Ashara. No snow here at all. Winter Spring. It's completely snowy zone. No snow here, plenty of snow there. You know, it's... Yeah, it just, there tends to be a bit of weird variance to the ecology in zones. Like, Storm Peaks, Ice Crown, covered in snow. Tropical area. There's snow in the northern half, but not so much down here. Which, you know, there's... Oh. Oh yeah. Oh, you can't actually attack her. Huh. It's not even Sanctuary. No? But, yeah, basically, it's just, there's actually a reason for this rather than just the game wanting to, the developers wanting to have a varied, environment and whatnot. There's actually is an in-game lore reason for it. This place probably looked a lot different before it got utterly devastated, I don't know what it was meant to have looked like, but yeah. Also, you can see the snowy peaks just over there. Oh, Blair. Um, so yeah, it's presumably looked a fair bit different before all this happened. Maybe it was snowy as well. Who knows? But let's. Someone has a quest for me.
Hello. Safe travels.
Oh, Blanc does. But yeah, basically it's just simply, it's not just random ecology, there's actually a lore reason for it. It just, to me, looks weird to go from tropical jungle to barren, desert, It just seems weird to have them, like, side by side, I get that in the deserts it can be oases, but that's not one of these cases. It's not one of these cases. Sorry, I'm tired. So yeah, that's just basically what I was getting at. That there's this lore reason for this, and it's not just game being weird. Yes. Ugh. Okay. Unk heard that you used the stone to banish Fire Lizard. You saved Gorge, and you didn't even kill. Unk's so proud. Unk happy to be Shandalyn's teacher. Maybe you take this. Unk doesn't need it. Unk too busy adventuring. Unk's lucky gear. 12 stamina. Instantly heals you for 71 on a 2-minute cooldown. Not sure if Lunk ever turns up again. It'd be cute if he did. Our task is complete, and it's all thanks to you, Shandalyn. I'd like to offer you a choice from our coffers. In addition, I intend to make you a full-fledged member of our order. Welcome to the Torian Brotherhood, Shandalyn. I'm proud to call you a sister. He says your choice from the coffers. When this quest was, it's actually ironic. I don't think the option was in the game at the time. But originally, I would imagine, you would get a selection of items and you could pick from. But due to a loot change, you don't get that anymore. Basically, back in the day, say if you did a quest and they would offer you a staff, a wand, or an offhand, but you're a warrior, and these are all spellcasting gear, you would still choose one, and you just choose the one that sold the most, and you'd sell it. But now they've changed it so, okay, this is offering a sword, a staff, or a wand. You're a warrior, okay, you get the sword, no other choice. You're a mage, you can choose between the staff and the offhand. You're a rogue, you can get the sword. It's, that's it. You don't get any choice in the matter. Even if the sword's worthless to you and you want to sell the staff for more, no, you get the sword. So, and in cases here where it's sword or mace, say, and you're a warlock, you get nothing. I'm not sure if you even necessarily get extra cash or anything to compensate. So, yeah, it's quite lackluster. And again, it screams of them streamlining the game and cutting stuff out, And I'm not a fan of it, which is again why Classic is something I'm excited about, because there won't be that in it. And I was saying this in my BFA playthrough, and I'm going to say it again here, hopefully better this time, because I did kind of run around in circles with it. I'm hoping that Classic, and if it gets a really positive reception and people are really hyped about it, Blizzard will take this as a good thing, and maybe in the next expansion or thereafter, because the next expansion is already in production, presumably, though in the that positive reception whatnot will influence the expansion. While certainly the game has gone too far in some regards to change, and certainly in some regards it shouldn't change. Hybrids, for example, druids, shamans, and paladins back in classic WoW were shit on completely. Um, Story goes, one of the dev team really didn't like hybrids and as such intentionally hamstrung them. I don't know if that's true. People say a lot of things. Some of them turn out to be right. Some. I don't know which way it goes. Um, in either case, the reality of the situation was paladins, druids, and shamans were completely hamstrung. All of them had healing specs and DPS specs, with paladins having a tanking spec. The only viable spec to play in the game for endgame content, or even group content pre-endgame, was healer. You paladin tanks, actually sorry, paladins and druids had tanking specs. I was thinking of shaman, but paladins and druids had tanking specs, but neither of them were viable. Really, I heard a member of World of Warcraft and talking about they had a druid tank, and it was said in such a way that it's clear that druid tanks weren't a done thing. This was a point of like how good and how overgeared this guild was, or something like that. I haven't listened to World of Warcraft in years, and I'm hesitant in going back since the guy blocked me on Twitter for pointing out that a guy was being bitter with him because he blocked him for disagreeing. So many people have gone kooky over the last few years. It's quite disappointing. Maybe it's a good thing Taverncast is dead, you know? I get to live with the happy memories of the thing without seeing them going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Going grilled bananas. But anyway, I just remember Star Mike saying that, basically being like, oh, they had a druid tank. And then the rest of that was just me extrapolating from what I remember. Just thinking it must have been a sign that the guild was really geared or extremely good to compensate for druid tanks. Because I know from other sources that the only viable spec for druids was healing back in Classic. So I am extrapolating a bit from a few different sources, but anyway. Like, basically what I'm trying to get at is druid tanks could be a done thing. Well, it could be done, but they weren't a done thing, and it was a sign of, other things that the fact that guild had one. It wasn't like now where, oh, you have a druid tank, you have a paladin tank. Oh, cool. They're no big deal now, but back in the day, it was either a sign that you're going to have a really bad time, or the fact that the guild was, really good and probably really overgeared. I think he went into a bit of detail, but talking about it, but I can't remember it honestly. Like I said, it's been years since I saw that episode, and I wouldn't even remember which one it was. If you're interested in going looking for it, feel free. Look for the ones that he actually released during Classic, Even then, that's not narrowing it down too much. World of Warcraft is the oldest WoW podcast. Oldest. They're still going. They started a week before Taverncast. I remember saying that in one episode. I didn't check for myself. They've made a lot of videos, even just for Classic, But, yeah, anyway, what am I saying? But yeah, Paladins, Druids, and Shaman all had DPS specs and healer specs, and then the two of them had tank specs. While, like I said, there was that one case with the Druid tank where they had one, it didn't really come off as a done thing, as the done thing, and there was like extenuating circumstances as to why they had a Druid tank. And not that they were desperate or something and had no other tank. It was something more positive for that they could compensate, kind of thing. That's what I'm imagining anyway. I can't fully remember what he said, but That's like the only situation I can that I can really see it being done in, because, like I said, the only viable spec for them was healing within raids and dungeons. Um, um, sorry, reason I keep like stumbling and stuttering over what I'm saying there is just I'm terrified of being wrong. It's really difficult for me to like, oh, if I say this, I could be wrong. That I need to provide ways out for myself. But this is what I remember. This is what my vague recollection of it says, that there was a positive extenuating circumstances to speak to how great that guild was, that they could have a druid tank, because it was just such a rarity and wasn't done, because it wasn't viable in the slightest. Warriors, I think, were the only viable tanks in Classic. I don't think there was anyone else. No, I don't think so. But anyway, beyond that, tanking, tanking and DPSing anyway wasn't viable for any of those three. And to go further, paladins, despite being plate wearers, there was actually no int on plate gear, none. It was all, sculpted towards warriors, and I suppose melee paladins. Well, melee paladins weren't a thing. It was very much all the gear was set towards warriors, because pallies would need int on them. Even if they were just playing healer, they would need, like, if they were playing healer, they would need int on their gear. And there was, so being that there wasn't, they would all have to go wear court instead. So there's that's like itemization screwing them over. There was there's the specs, how two of them were just flatly non-viable. Then there was the itemization screwing them over. Everyone else got a stat stick that they didn't. Basically, everyone back in the day had 3 slots: main hand, offhand, ranged. Like Grand Kata, I think they got rid of that. But for a long time, shamans, paladins, and druids couldn't put anything in the ranged slot. You got an item from a quest to do at Stratholme, and that was it. That item provided no stats and was simply for looks. Everyone else you could be a warrior with a crossbow and be getting extra stats from that crossbow. Same with rogues, rogues, shamans, rogues, hunters, you name it. You could just have an extra weapon. Like, you could be a hunter using your bow constantly, and you have a melee weapon on you for extra stats. So everyone else got a stat stick that the paladins, shamans, and druids didn't. Eventually, they did get Librams, idols, and totems. Librams for paladins, idols for shaman, for druid, and totems for shaman. That provided them benefits in a variety of ways, but that wasn't for quite a while. So everyone else had a major advantage. Beyond having their specs simply be viable, they also got additional stats that were completely impossible for the others to get. So even if you were an equivalently geared paladin, ignoring specs to a warrior, the warrior had had an extra slot that paladins just didn't have. So even if you had all the other gears, you were still inferior. So yeah, basically what I'm getting at is the way they handled hybrid classes in Classic was horrific. And while I do hope that, Blizzard might take some lessons from Classic WoW and trim up the game mechanically a bit, I do hope that they don't decide to screw over hybrid classes, or any class for that matter. As much as I'm like, Paladins better be on top, ooh, Paladins. I don't want any class to be fucked over, I want the game to be fun for everyone. Like, obviously skill and dedication is another thing, but I don't want, this class just isn't flatly viable in any content fuck off. No, I'm not a fan of that in the slightest. Everyone should have a, you know, chance, if you get me. Equality of opportunity, you know? So, not necessarily outcome. So, yeah, I hope that basically Blizzard does take lessons from the past and trim up the game in a variety of ways, maybe scale some things back, fix things up in some ways. Certainly the game has gone too far in some regards that it couldn't reliably be trimmed down on. But I'm sure there's some ways that could be fixer-uppered, I wouldn't know myself. It would require, greater minds at game designing than, I have, I'm good at taking photos and I'm hoping I can write a story. I'm not a games developer. But yeah, I'm hoping that, anyway, they can learn some lessons from Classic while steering clear of the pitfalls and many mistakes they made in it, such as how they handled hybrids. That's basically what I was getting at. I feel I kind of went around in circles too much there. But yeah, basically it was just sum up what I was saying was, because I feel like I missed the point or poorly said it, was only hero was viable. Everything else was poor. While there has been few cases, seemingly isolated, of that not being, having a druid tank, those were isolated with extenuating circumstances surrounding it. There was the itemization on gear, like say for paladins, was horrific. So even though they were plate wearers, they had to go back and wear clothes, because they didn't make plate gear with them in mind. Maybe the paladin set gears or something, but outside of them, no. So, and then everyone having stat sticks that they didn't have access to. So everyone else got a bit of extra strength, intelligence, whatever, but they didn't. So they were left behind there as well. So I hope Blizzard can learn from the positive aspects while not deciding to screw over classes again because, meh. So, yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at. I've been rather bad at this lately. I just feel like I'm not making sense. I feel that I'm being incoherent. And it's something that I've been quite struggling with. It's something I need to get better at. And it's a slow process. It's a very slow process. But yeah, anyway, I've said my piece there. I hope they learn from Classic. Maybe it influences the next expansion or the one thereafter in some ways. But obviously I do recognize there's a limit to how it can influence them, and there's a limit in how it should influence them. For example, I don't want them fucking over classes because I don't know if what I said earlier is the actual reason or not. The person might have been making shit up, or random designer had a bee in his bonnet about them. I don't know. And I doubt I'll ever know, Like, if it's true, the guy wouldn't come out and say it. And if it's not true, well, he certainly wouldn't be saying it is true. Like, he will deny it in either case. So, unless he's a particular sort of person. And that can go for either one, It's not true, but I'll say it is anyway. Or it is true, and I'm going to brag about it, So, it's just all up in the air, But yeah, I hope they learn lessons from Classic, but avoid the pitfalls. I really do. Though, to be fair, I don't actually have much faith in them right now after how poorly they handled this, the BFA, and some of the shit they're actually saying in interviews, claiming that the idea of running PvP and getting like honor points or what have you, and then or tokens and trading those tokens in for gear is too complex for the WoW for the WoW community. A fucking dev said that, and I'm actually insulted at that. you know? Because that would mean that we aren't even drooling idiots. We would be too stupid to actually know how to drool, you know? Our cells will be so damn hindered, they wouldn't even know how to divide normally. Or never mind, turn into cancer, you know? That's just how damn, mentally deficient we'll be, you know? Like, that's the tier, like, that's the level the dev team think we're on, you know? So, yeah, I don't exactly have much faith in them to handle anything right. I'm saying my hopes and waiting for them to be dashed. Or at the very least, sidestepped. They don't even acknowledge classic at all, kind of thing. But anyway, I'm ranting. If you have any opinions, any stances, please let me know. Unlike when I said in the BFA bit, this will come out all the more sooner, hopefully, and you'll actually be able to give your predictions and your hopes and whatnot. With the BFA one, I said it in the same light, but well, what was it? I said in the same light, but it'll be coming out in like 2020, like early 2020. So it's a bit late to give predictions when the thing's already out and has been for a couple months. August, September, October, November, December. 4 months to the end of the year after August. And then maybe 3 more to when the video, maybe anywhere from 2 to 3 more from when the video comes out. So 6 to 7 months. It's kind of a bit late to do predictions then. I suppose you could predict the rest of the thing, but you get what I mean. So yeah, you can say your hopes, your dreams for it, and if you have any other predictions, I would like to hear them. If you've anything to say what I've said, I'd also like to hear that. So let's move on. Into the gorge. Ooh, wait. You have a repeatable quest? Ooh, actually, wait, there's Dark Iron Residue. What was Dark Iron Scraps for? Ah, they're actually needed for a different return. Turn-in. You turn them into Corfax, Champion of the Light. Or, well, sorry, I should say you used to be able to do so. It's no longer the case. They changed it in Kata. But yeah, you could turn in Dark Iron Scraps to get Insignias of the Dawn. And you get a bit silver Insignias of the Dawn. And Insignias of the Dawn are needed for the for a few quests here: Armaments of Battle and Epic Armaments of Battle. So yeah, they were all Argent Dawn quests. Is the character's name, but not actually. Don't think I said what faction he's part of. Well, Champion of Light probably tipped you off. I think I said that bit. But yeah, you basically used to turn Dark Iron Scraps into the Argent Dawn for rep. Not sure what they wanted them for. Eh, iron scraps are iron scraps. It's just I thought you turned them into here to burninate. But apparently not. You wanted dark iron residue, and that's actually still a thing.